It's 2 a.m. Your dog has a perfectly comfortable bed somewhere in the house. Maybe it's in the living room. Maybe it's right beside yours. Yet somehow, every night, they make the same decision. They walk past all of those options, circle your bed a few times, and settle right next to you, usually taking up far more space than seems physically possible. Most people think they know why. Maybe your dog is cold. Maybe it's just a routine. Maybe they're overly attached. But the science behind this behavior tells a much deeper story. What your dog is doing every night is connected to trust, attachment, brain chemistry, and a relationship that has been evolving for thousands of years. And chances are, you've never looked at it this way before. Let's begin with the simplest explanation: warmth. At first glance, it makes sense. Dogs enjoy warm places. Humans are warm. Case closed. Right? Not exactly. Your dog probably has access to sunny spots, blankets, couches, carpets, and countless comfortable places throughout the house. If warmth alone were the goal, any of those locations would work. Yet they repeatedly choose to sleep beside you. Why? Because sleep is the most vulnerable state an animal can experience. When a dog falls asleep, awareness drops. Reaction time slows. Defenses disappear. From an evolutionary perspective, that's dangerous. For thousands of generations, survival depended on finding a safe place before becoming unconscious. And despite every instinct telling them to seek security, your dog willingly chooses to sleep next to a human who is much larger than they are. That's not simply about comfort. That's about trust. Researchers at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest conducted studies based on attachment tests originally developed for human infants. The results were remarkable. Dogs displayed attachment patterns strikingly similar to those seen between children and their parents. They sought closeness when uncertain, they showed distress during separation, and they relaxed when reunited with their owners. In fact, around 60% of the dogs in these studies were classified as securely attached, a number very close to what researchers find in human toddlers. So when your dog curls up next to you at night, they're not being needy. They're engaging in one of the strongest attachment behaviors known to psychology. They're choosing to remain close to the individual they trust most. But the story doesn't stop there, because attachment isn't just emotional, it's biological. In 2015, researchers from Azabu University in Japan published a groundbreaking study in the journal Science. They examined dog-owner pairs and measured oxytocin levels during interaction. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone. It's associated with feelings of connection, trust, affection, and social attachment. What the researchers discovered was extraordinary. When dogs looked into their owner's eyes and the owners looked back, oxytocin levels increased in both species. At the same time, the dog's brain responded, the human brain responded, and the increase encouraged even more interaction, creating a positive feedback loop. The stronger the bond became, the more oxytocin was released. The researchers then repeated the experiment with hand-raised wolves. The effect disappeared. The same loop simply wasn't there, which suggests something fascinating. This bond wasn't inherited from wolves. It developed specifically through the unique relationship between dogs and humans. Over thousands of years, both species evolved ways to connect with one another on a biological level. Physical touch strengthens that connection even further. Studies have shown that spending just a few minutes petting a dog can reduce stress hormones in both the owner and the animal. Now imagine what happens when that connection continues through an entire night of shared rest. To understand why this matters, we need to look back in time. A very long way back. Dogs were domesticated before agriculture, before cities, before written language, long before modern civilization existed. Around 15,000 years ago, certain wolves began spending time near human camps. The friendliest individuals gained access to food and protection. Over generations, those animals gradually changed. Eventually, they became something entirely different. Dogs. Archaeological evidence from Germany reveals burials dating back roughly 14,000 years that contained humans and dogs laid to rest together. But one detail stands out. One dog buried at the site had survived a severe illness that would have required weeks of dedicated care, protected it, and kept it alive 14,000 years ago. That tells us something important. Dogs weren't merely tools. They were already companions. Already family. Modern genetics supports this idea. Researchers have identified genetic variations in dogs associated with friendliness and social behavior toward humans. These differences are not found in wolves. In other words, dogs were shaped over thousands of years to seek our company, to stay close, to form emotional bonds, and yes, to sleep beside us. So when your dog climbs onto your bed, they're participating in a behavior rooted deep within their evolutionary history, a behavior that stretches back thousands of years. Now here's something surprising. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic monitored the sleep patterns of adults and their dogs over multiple nights. The data showed that dogs did in fact disturb sleep. They moved around, changed positions, occasionally woke their owners. Objectively speaking, sleep efficiency decreased. Yet participants consistently reported feeling safer, more comfortable, and more relaxed when their dogs were nearby. How can both things be true? Additional research found that many owners experienced brief awakenings when their dogs moved, but often had no memory of those interruptions the next morning. The disruptions existed, but the sense of security was stronger. And that raises an interesting possibility. Maybe a feeling of safety contributes to restorative sleep more than we realize. For most of human history, people slept in groups. Families shared spaces. Communities stayed close together. Sleeping completely alone is actually a relatively recent development. Perhaps having a trusted companion nearby, especially one your brain associates with comfort and protection, provides benefits that aren't fully captured by sleep statistics. A 2024 study from the University of Jyväskylä in Finland examined heart rate variability in dog-owner pairs. Researchers found that dogs and their owners often displayed synchronized HRV patterns. When one was calm, the other tended to be calm. When stress levels changed in one, similar shifts appeared in the other. The synchronization became strongest during periods of rest, when researchers tested unfamiliar human-dog pairs. The effect largely disappeared. It only appeared in bonded relationships. That means sleeping beside your dog may involve more than simple companionship. It may represent two nervous systems influencing one another throughout the night. And before we finish, there's one important thing every dog owner should know. If your dog has slept beside you consistently for months or years and suddenly stops, pay attention. Dogs are creatures of routine. A dramatic change in behavior rarely happens without a reason. Sometimes the explanation is environmental, a move, a schedule change, a new pet, a new family member. But sometimes the cause is physical. Altered sleeping habits can be one of the earliest signs of discomfort or pain. In older dogs, disrupted sleep patterns can also be associated with canine cognitive dysfunction. So listen carefully when behavior changes. Your dog had options. The couch was available, the floor was available, their own bed was available, but they chose you. Thousands of years of evolution, powerful attachment systems, and unique biological connections led to that choice. To your dog, sleeping beside you isn't just comfortable. It's safe. It's home. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Inside Out and share your thoughts in the comments below.